So I got a pretty interesting report for you guys today, and it's probably going to be a little bit confusing for some people. So there's going to be more info in the description about everything, and yeah, so check that out if you need to. But this is going to be my first acid trip report, but I'm also going to be talking a lot about my friend who was on DPH at the time, so it can be considered a DPH trip report too. So I had never done acid before, and my friend Isaac had just ordered a lot of tabs off the darknet, and we decided to do some when we went to the local water park that week. Since it was going to be in public at a water park, and it was also my first time ever doing any, we chose to do pretty low amounts. I was going to do 30 UGs, and Isaac was going to do 70 UGs. But before we went, I made the mistake of inviting our friend Doug to come with us too and take some too. So all three of us get there. We go to the bathroom to dose. I tried to take mine with the plastic wrap on at first, but Isaac called me stupid and I removed it and took it properly. And after we all took them, we left, and probably like a couple minutes after that, Doug had already spit out his tab by mistake. We noticed he was acting really weird. We asked him what was going on, and he told us that he thought the amount of acid we were gonna do was too low to be interesting, so he took 500 milligrams of DPH before coming to a public water park. And Isaac and I were just baffled by how retarded he was, but we were already there and we already took our tabs, so we just figured we'd have to try to watch him as best as we could. So we put our phones in our lockers and set our other stuff down on a bench, and we went over to the wave pool to swim for a while. After swimming for a while, my tabs started to kick in and I was feeling really good. Everything looked more colorful and pretty, and the water felt really warm and nice. And I remember I was being weirdly polite and saying sorry sir every time I bumped into someone. And I remember when I got out of the water and started walking to the bathroom, I was like, you feel like you're walking with purpose on acid. And also when I looked in the bathroom mirrors, my pupils were super big. And when I came back, I jumped right into the deep end of the wave pool, and the lifeguard got really mad at me and I had to apologize. But by that point, I could tell Isaac was feeling his tab too, and Doug also started acting a bit weirder. I don't think he really got any of the acid because he spit it out super quick, but just the DPH was making him act weird. But a little bit after that, we got in the lazy river and started walking around it. This is when Doug kind of started to go completely insane. He started saying that there were frogs everywhere in the water. He started saying that they were being killed by frog killers and that we had to save them. And the more he talked about it, the more it seemed like he viewed them as some sort of powerful beings important to the universe or something. I don't know, it was super weird. And I remember he said that the reason we couldn't see them and he could was because the DPH unlocked his full brain potential, because humans only use 10% of their brain or something fucking retarded like that. And at this point, me and Isaac were losing our shit laughing at him because it was really funny. And I remember he was basically just yelling about the frogs, and he yelled at these children in front of us to like save the frogs, and we had to apologize to them. And I also remember some lady dropped her foam cup in the river, and Doug picked it up and gave it back to her, and he was like, wow, I got to save frogs and help her, and she doesn't even know it. And he seemed so genuinely happy about it that it was just really funny. And I also think like we were going down the river and he was like, yo dude, that lifeguard has a fat ass, which he definitely would have done sober, but I look over and she's like right next to us. So like she definitely heard him say that and she looked really mad, but I don't know. It was I was still feeling super great, and Doug being like a fucking lunatic was hilarious, and me and Isaac were just laughing super loud at everything he was saying, and it was great. But I think a little bit after we fucked around in the river for a while, we decided to go to the only water slide that there was at the park, and we had to We had to walk up these really tall stairs to get to the top of it, and Doug kept saying he felt like he was falling through the bars and dying, and he also kept talking about the frogs more, and he fucking said that he thought Alex Jones did DPH, and that's why he knew the frogs were turning gay or something. And he was being super loud, and I knew everyone around us could hear what he was saying and probably knew something was up, but I didn't really care that much because it was super funny, and I was tripping. But we all went down the slide, and it was really fun, but I kind of scraped my foot as I went down, and it hurt, and it felt really weird because pain kind of feels weird on acid, and that was annoying, and it bothered me for the rest of the time we were there. After we all went down the slide a couple times, we went over to the bench with our stuff on it, and I remember, I don't know where I heard this, but somewhere I heard that people like to drink orange juice with LSD, so I thought it'd be funny to bring orange juice instead of water, so I just had this like piss warm orange juice in a water bottle, and Doug fucking took it from me right away and drank all of it, and he said he needed to make himself not orange anymore because the orange gas turned him orange, and then he said we needed to get more orange juice to purify the corrupted frogs, and I told them that I'd get some orange juice and pour it in the water for him. Also, I remember like the whole time we were there, he kept saying diphenhydramine me. Really weird over and over like that, and I was like, great dude, just fucking telling everyone what you're on. But I think a little bit after he drank the orange juice, there's this like playground in the water thing for kids to play on, and it looked really pretty on the tab, and it made me super nostalgic because I remember playing on similar shit like that as a kid, so I wanted to go play on it, and we did for a bit. But Isaac started saying that he was really cold, and I think Doug was saying some weird shit to one of the kids there, so we just decided to leave, and I think we went around the river for a little bit more, and then we went over to get some food, and I didn't ask them if they had orange juice or anything because I fucking forgot, but if they did, I probably unironically would have fucking poured it in the pool because it was funny. But I got like fries and a soda, and we waited for them to come, and when they did, they tasted really shitty. They were super bland, and my drink was way too sweet, but we just sat there while I ate, and Doug was being super loud and talking about fucking dumb shit. And I'm pretty sure everyone heard him, but they didn't do anything. But after I ate, I think we went back to the wave pool and spent most of the time in there. And I don't know, Doug was still being like weird as fuck and talking about frogs the whole time. Eventually, we got out and decided that it was time for us to leave, and there was some confusion about how Doug was going to get back home, because I know for a fact that he didn't drive there because he didn't have a license and he didn't have a car, but he fucking kept telling us that he drove there himself, and I don't know, he lies all the time, so I don't know if he was just making that up or if he was really dull enough to think he drove over there. But eventually I guess he figured it out, and he got someone to pick him up, and me and Isaac both went back home to our houses, and I remember the rest of the trip was super comfy. I just laid down and on my bed and watched old YouTube videos on my phone until I fell asleep pretty much, and that's the end of the trip. And overall, despite how low of a dose of acid it really was and how fucking weird Doug was being, I think it was my best acid trip that I had. The water park was super fun to be at on acid, and Doug being a fucking moron and losing his mind made things like more interesting and really funny, instead of like ruining my trips like it did some of my other acid trips. But that's probably just because I haven't really had very many good acid experiences, sadly. But anyway, thanks for bearing with me with such a weird story, and I will say, if you're skeptical about the frog shit, there is a decent chance that Doug was faking it, or at least playing some of it up, because he is the kind of person to just make up shit like that for no reason. But DPH is a really weird drug, and it seemed pretty real to me, so it's definitely possible that it was totally legit, and it was really fucking funny either way, so I don't mind. And yeah, but anyway, thanks for listening. I'm going to finish my last 2 DPH trip reports soon, and then start talking about some of my acid reports and some of my later DXM trip reports. But bye. Save the frogs.